Hi, welcome to Chapter 2 of my user manual, and in this part I'm going to be talking about attachment theory. Attachment theory proposes that the emotional and social development of an infant is profoundly shaped in the relationship with their primary caregiver. It was developed by David Bowlby, and the theory is rooted with the belief that infants are biologically wired to form attachments that serve as survival strategy. What is important to note about this is that in our mind, whatever happened in early relationships is a blueprint for future ones. We look for things that fit that. The early experience in childhood has an important influence on the development and the behavior later in life. Some of the components of attachment are physical, relationship stability, and also consistency in your interaction. Now, with the attachment style, there are four different types. The first one is secure attachment. This is when our primary caregiver is responsible for our needs and we have a secure place to wander out and explore the world, but we always know we have a place to turn to if things get scary or overwhelming. Our minds have learned that we are trustworthy, that the caregiver is trustworthy. I am trustworthy, and the attachment between me and my caregiver is trustworthy. The second one is called an insecure, ambivalent, or anxious attachment. This happens when our caregiver is inconsistent. Maybe they have an illness or something else going on. The child isn't 100% sure they will be there when they need them. And as a result, we cling. We can panic when there's separation because we aren't 100% sure that that person is coming back. We've never developed a sense of security around ourselves and the bond between them. It's just insecure. The second one is insecure avoidant attachment. It's when our primary caregiver doesn't respond to our needs with sensitivity or care. We feel alone in our needs and upset and learn that we are navigating our needs and emotions completely on our own. Or we are the only person we can trust when it comes to getting those needs met. We learned we are trustworthy, but others are not, and attachment in general doesn't help us. This can lead to isolating or toxic independence. We are the only ones that can do what we need to do. And then the fourth one is called disorganized attachment. It's a little different from the others. The other three are quote unquote organized. In this one, our brains develop a cohort, even if it's unhealthy script that about how we are to navigate around the caregiver. For example, like I'll cling or I'll avoid. But with a disorganized attachment, you can't figure out a good strategy. The caregiver shows atypical behavior. Maybe they are abusive or rejecting. We don't know whether to move toward them or away from them, and we can feel afraid and confused, and it can play out in a variety of ways. We might be clingy one moment, then dismissive, and rejecting the next. Those with disorganized attachment have a hard time trusting ourselves and others, and sometimes may long for attachment, and other times we fear it altogether. How this plays into my personal life, I was the third child in the family, and there was a 7-year difference between me and my middle brother, my next brother. And I remember, well, I don't remember it because I was an infant, but when I was born, I was in the hospital for like 2 months. I had pneumonia, and they thought I was going to die and everything. So I didn't have that bonding with my mom that my other two brothers did. Also, being that there was an age separation, my mom worked outside of the house. My dad worked outside of the house. So I had, my brothers take care of me, but they weren't really always there, and it was always one or the other. So my attachment theory, I would believe, would be more of I would say the insecure avoidant attachment, because I'm just not really sure, who's going to be there, what's going to happen. This is played out in relationships with my own insecurity. And I thought when we were learning this in class, it really hit home, and especially that part where, I wasn't bonding with my mother, first at birth. That I feel that kind of played into it. Not, and I don't blame my parents for any of this. Obviously, they weren't at fault for me being in the hospital, and also parents have to work. So, I understand that. I guess the takeaway from this is that it answered a lot of questions about how I am in my relationships. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be doing the next one in just a moment.